Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 Morning News.
Right now at 6, President Trump is now on his way to Alabama this morning to get a first-hand look at some of the hardest hit areas in Lee County after that EF4 tornado hit on Sunday, killing 23 people. And now Alabama residents are striving to look forward and begin the recovery process. Good morning and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Alyssa Martin.
And I'm Bill Young. It is Friday, March the 8th, and people who live in Lee County are certainly in recovery mode, but I hate to say this, there could be some more rough weather coming into Alabama this morning. We have team coverage from across the state. Way 31's Sydney Martin is in Lee County this morning as the president is getting to arrive. And here at home, Way 31's Stephen Dilsizian is keeping an eye on what conditions are like this morning as we are preparing for the arrival of severe weather this weekend.
But first, let's go ahead and check in with Way 31 meteorologist Kate McKenna. She's in the Storm Tracker Weather Center this morning with what you need to know for your Friday morning commute. Kate, I know you definitely want to have the rain gear as you head out the door.
We do have showers back with us this morning, but this is just to give you a brief overview of the timeline, when to expect the storms to start to roll into the valley tomorrow afternoon. As early as 11 o'clock, although I think it's more likely that we see storms arriving in the shoals between noon and 1 o'clock. I just want to prepare you, though, for that potentially earlier arrival time between 1 and 3 o'clock through Athens, Decatur, Huntsville, Fayetteville, and through Sand Mountain between 3 and 5 o'clock. Now, once these storms arrive, they're going to stay with us for some time. We are going to still see that heavy rain behind the leading edge of the stronger storms that roll through. And that heavy rain, it's first and foremost here on the list of what we are concerned about heading through tomorrow. Damaging wind and tornadoes, they are still on the list. Damaging wind would be anything, any wind gust exceeding 60 miles per hour, 50 to 60 miles per hour. Those more likely for us tomorrow, and especially through the shoals. But all locations are going to see the heavy rain, and that's my utmost priority, monitoring that for you tomorrow. Storm Tracker radar currently, we have just been seeing a couple of showers, but we've also seen a rumble of thunder here. And I say we've seen a rumble of thunder because I can see the lightning icon, so we've heard that thunder in Marshall County. Some pockets of heavier rain now in eastern Marshall County, getting ready to track into DeKalb County. Temperatures currently, it's 48 degrees in Decatur, 49 in Huntsville, 51 in Muscle Shoals, and 46 in Scottsboro. So heading out the door today, as Alyssa told you, bring the rain gear, rain boots, jackets, umbrellas, all of the above. You will need them not only this morning, but again this afternoon. And again tomorrow. Way 31's Stephen Dilsizian is monitoring what we're expecting from the rain where he is at. Stephen, what's the latest?
Yeah, Kate, I'm just along Ditto Landing, where within the past hour I've tried to get in contact with the Huntsville Emergency Management Agency, see if they have any comment or do they want to send a message to the public about this upcoming heavy rain wave. Right now, I have not been able to get in contact with them throughout the morning and thus far, but you can see me. Ditto Landing still has a flooding issue here, and it's not going to get a break anytime soon. I want to step out of the way so you can really see just some of that flooding here. The Tennessee River at Whitesburg is what's caused Ditto Landing here specifically to flood. It's just one area still trying to recover from that flooding back in February, and it looks like it won't catch a break. Now, the National Weather Service in Huntsville recently issued their spring flood outlook, and it's official. This February was the wettest on record in Huntsville, and if you recall, it's been the wettest winter as a whole. Areas like the Tennessee River at Whitesburg and the Flint River are still under a flood warning at this time. Things could only get worse here, guys, with more rain on the way. Reporting live in Huntsville, Stephen Dilsizian, Way 31 News.
All right, thanks so much, Stephen. It's now 6:04, and this morning, President Trump is now making his way to Alabama to view the area where tornadoes have destroyed a community in Lee County, Alabama.
Way 31 Sydney Martin is in Lee County this morning. She has been there all week long. She's been seeing the destruction, and she's been watching the recovery. Sydney, bring us the latest information, what you have seen.
Bill, Alyssa, well, this is the 5th day that we've been here this morning. It's about what we've been seeing the last couple of days when they switched from search and rescue to recovery. Now people are just trying to clean up this destruction. I'm going to step out of the way here to give you a look. This destruction is what President Donald Trump is going to get to see firsthand today when he makes his way into the area. He's expected to take a tour of the most affected areas, meet with families and with the victims that did survive this deadly tornado that took 23 lives. Now, today you can just see that there's still a lot to clean up and that these people have a long road ahead of them. We'll keep you updated on the president's visit, along with Dan Schaefer, our Way 31 anchor. He's going to be down here with us. Live in Lee County, Alabama, Sydney Martin, Way 31 News.
All right, thanks so much, Sydney. And as you know, Way 31, of course, has been in Lee County all week long, giving you a firsthand look at the devastation and talking to those people who are now recovering. On Thursday, we caught up with volunteers who traveled from North Alabama to help the tornado victims. The volunteers packed up their tools, brought gas, and anything else they thought people in Lee County might need. Volunteers we talked with say they remember the 2011 tornadoes that ripped through North Alabama and understand what it's like to lose everything.
We're kind of like us. After it's over with, you don't know what to do. You don't know. People say, "Can I help?" And you say, "Yeah," and they're like, they don't know what to do. I mean, pick up a branch and move it or something like that. There's people are just lost.
Harris said that they did learn you just really have to take it one day at a time, one step at a time, as you work towards rebuilding your life. Now, they're hoping to help some of the victims through that very first step.
And Senator Doug Jones saw the damage for himself during a visit to the hardest hit part of Lee County. He was there Thursday. He thanked President Trump for the FEMA disaster declaration, and he also thanked the state team for their work. Senator Jones said during his time in Lee County, he met law enforcement officers from as far away as Florida who made that trip to help out. He said the damage for him was hard to take in.
But the devastation is just absolutely will take your breath away. And that's is an all too familiar scene here in Alabama, whether it is tornadoes or floods or hurricanes. We seem to have more than our share sometimes.
Senator Jones also said that he knows this will not keep Alabama down and that we'll rebuild and will rebound. Governor Kay Ivey is now encouraging Alabamians to donate to the Governor's Emergency Relief Fund. That fund was started more than a decade ago following disasters like Hurricanes Ivan and Katrina. During the 2011 tornado outbreaks, $4 million was donated and awarded.
It's now 6:07, and this morning, help is also coming from Huntsville. The Prepare and Respond Disaster Relief Group arrived in Lee County on Thursday. The local group is made up of volunteers from various churches. They'll be doing more physical work like removing trees from houses and cleaning up debris. Way 31 did get the chance to talk with some of the volunteers before they left North Alabama.
Things, it's just going to be hard to see all the destruction, all the things that were valuable to people. I think the hardest thing is usually when you see people's valuables just tossed around.
The mood is we're excited to go down there and help, but also knowing that fatalities, so many involved, you go down there with a little bit of a heavy heart.
Prepare and Respond will be in Lee County until Sunday, but they say they do plan to make multiple trips back to the area in the next several weeks.
And right now, if you head over to WadeTV.com, you're going to find every updated story on the deadly tornado outbreak in Lee County. Wade 31 will continue to bring you coverage you can count on as that cleanup continues. As you saw, we had that crew in Beauregard this morning with Sydney Martin, and we have another crew headed there right now.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching Way 31 Morning News.
Way 31 bringing you complete weather coverage this morning at 5. You are taking a look at the crews that we have across the Tennessee Valley, Lauderdale County, multiple crews in Jackson County, where a confirmed tornado touched down overnight. Thank you for being here this Tuesday morning, November 6th. I'm Bill Young.
And I'm Naja Sherman. Way 31 came on the air around 11 Monday night, bringing you complete coverage of tornado and thunderstorm warnings as we track those across the Tennessee Valley. Our team coverage continues this morning with Way 31 crews all across the Tennessee Valley, keeping an eye on damage.
And of course, we have two meteorologists in-house, Kate McKenna and Chris Smith, tracking the remainder of those storms, evaluating what damage reports we've already received overnight. Let's get to Way 31 meteorologist Kate McKenna.
And my job for you this morning is going to be helping you prepare for the day ahead. I think that a few of us, well, several of us will be cleaning up after last night's storms, and it's also Election Day. The good news here is that the strong storms, the severe storms, have moved out of the Tennessee Valley, but it was certainly a very active night across the area. There was not one location spared when it came to that heavy rain or the intense wind that we had from time to time, and even a confirmed tornado here in Jackson County. We had tornadoes outside the Tennessee Valley as well, just outside the Way 31 coverage area, but I want you to watch this loop here. I've got this playing very slowly so you can see this storm that did produce a tornado near Scottsboro. You can see a little bit of a swirl there right as it tracked south of Scottsboro, and that's been the main area that we've been watching very closely for you. I can tell you that just from a few showers this morning, we'll see a little bit of sunshine by the afternoon, so overall we're on the tail end of this event. I want to send it over to Way 31 meteorologist Chris Smith. He is in the Storm Tracker Weather Center because he does have a little more in-depth look at some of these storm reports. Chris?
I do, and I want to do kind of a broad stroke first when you look at the entire, not just Tennessee Valley, but also a lot of the region. We had numerous storm reports from Mississippi to Tennessee, going into Georgia, but it was really a couple of lines that brought in a lot of storm activity, especially for the shoals. Then, of course, a couple of those big red icons speak out to you. Those are our tornado ones. So that's the one that started around Highway 72 in Aspel, and then that worked its way just south of Scottsboro towards Pisgah. But this is what we were tracking for you. This is the tornado debris signature that we were looking at as the tornado was on the ground just south of downtown Scottsboro. This is what we tracked for you at that point, 2:44 in the morning. So that's what we had tracking that event, tracking all the showers and storms. But because of that tornado debris signature, that's what allowed us to see that tornado without having it technically confirmed. We knew it was on the ground. It was doing a lot of damage, and we're about to show you probably a lot of that damage that was caused by the tornado in Scottsboro.
All right, Chris, thank you. Yes, we do have our crews keeping an eye on the damage, watching what is left behind in Jackson County as the sun comes up. But we have to take a moment and acknowledge what has transpired in Franklin County, Tennessee.
Way 31's Cody Fisher joins us live from the phone. And Cody, just describe the damage you're seeing. How bad is it?
Well, it is pretty. Bill and Naja, right now I'm sitting on Paynes Church Road, and there is a gigantic tree that is just completely across the road. I sent in a couple of pictures not that long ago, and right now crews are working to clear this, and I'm actually sitting right next to a Franklin County, Tennessee sheriff's deputy, and he told me that this is just the beginning of the damage, and that there's much more damage about a mile east of where I am right now. And right now I'm actually just east of Easthill Springs, Tennessee, and so as this road continues to get cleared, I'm going to continue to go in and see exactly what damage is done. And in fact, the sheriff's deputy told me that probably about 5 miles in from where I am right now, I'm not sure how far I could go, but about 5 miles from where I am right now, a barn collapsed onto horses, and we don't know exactly if the horses are okay or not, but that's what we know right now. And according to the sheriff's deputy, they don't know exactly if anybody is hurt from this storm, but the damage so far is pretty substantial and is closing off many of the roads here.
All right, thank you, Cody. And we know Tennessee hit it incredibly hard in Rutherford County, Tennessee. We've also received confirmation reports. 1 person dead, 2 people seriously hurt. And in Christiana, Tennessee, also a possible death and injuries. Way 31 is also keeping an eye on power outages this morning. We have had several throughout the night. Taking a live look at the Huntsville power outage map, you can see power outages in northwest Madison County from Pulaski Pike East to Highway 231, 431, and between Patterson Lane and Bob Wade Lane. There's also a power outage in the New Hope area, and this is from Hobbs Island Road south into Marshall County, and we've learned this will include all customers in Marshall County. Utility crews tell us that power and service will be restored as quickly and as safely as possible.
And Way 31 has been taking calls from school districts across the Tennessee Valley, many of them operating on a 2-hour delay. So before you get the kids up and ready for school, head over to WadeTV.com. We have that full list of closures and delays. While there, you can also find the entire list scrolling across the bottom of your screen. So as we continue our coverage in Jackson County, as we've said, there's a confirmed tornado. The area just outside Scottsboro, certainly the hardest hit we've seen so far.
The Jackson County Chief Deputy also confirmed that they are sending deputies to help with traffic control, because we know that debris is scattered throughout the roads, and so this is going to certainly be an alert during your morning commute. Let's get right to Way 31's Will Robinson Smith. He's live there right now. Will, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I know. Just to your last point there, Najah, there have been a couple of deputies I've seen their blue lights patrolling along Highway 72 here, kind of near County Roads 101 and 110, where they've seen a number of trees down, power lines in the road. That's why it's so dark out here, is because there's a loss of power. I want to talk about what's right behind me, though. This is one of the homes that took a direct hit from some of the storm damage around here. You can see this big tree that just collided with the side of this home right here. We're just on the south side of Highway 72, and you can see with the damage that this did to the roof. It's just peeled the tin right off of this roof. Extensive damage that was done to the roof of this home. Fortunately, I just talked with the homeowner here. They said that he and his wife were uninjured in this tree falling on their home. Fortunately, that is the good news here. Obviously, a lot to clean up as they go into the morning hours, as things start to get brighter, and that's the story for a lot of folks here in Jackson County, dealing with all this storm damage and situations like this, where we have a lot of trees down, power lines down, and just a lot of bramble and things that have been scattered around because of the strong winds that have been pushing through the area. So we're going to continue to stay out here and monitor the situation for you and bring you more stories like this one, because there unfortunately are a number of them. No injuries, though, that we've heard of as of yet. Reporting live in Jackson County, Will Robinson Smith, Way 31 News.
All right, Will, thanks. And now we want to go to the other side of the state. Brecken Terry has been across the Tennessee Valley tonight, really focused on what has been transpiring in the Shoals.
And she's live now in Lauderdale County. And Brecken, we know you've seen some pretty intense damage along the way.
Well, guys, I wouldn't call it necessarily intense damage. We do have a lot of trees that were down here along County Road 259, but crews have since come in and cleared most of these trees away. Power crews are here. They tell me that they've got about 5 or 6 poles that are down just on this county road alone. In just a few short minutes, another crew is going to be coming in and replacing them. Now, these utility crews tell me that they've also got crews over in Rogersville working on some power lines there, as well as Lexington, because we did have a lot of power lines and things like that down in Lauderdale County. But other than that, there was not a ton of structure damage here in Lauderdale County. And when you go back and you actually look at these tornadoes, or well, at these storms as they tracked through on the radar, they actually looked a lot worse on radar than what they were. So very thankful that there was not more damage here in Lauderdale County. Live in Lauderdale County, Brecken Terry, Way 31 News.
All right, thanks so much, Brecken. And just want to clarify, Way 31 meteorologist Chris Smith just checked to sort of confirm the extent of the damage. And fortunately, we've learned where Brecken is at. It's not too intense, but unfortunately, that is not the situation for other parts of Lauderdale County. He's saying that, that we're seeing in that area some of the most significant damage from the storm. But we also want to get to Way 31's Sarah Singletary. She is live now in Jackson County, where the Emergency Management Agency also confirmed that a tornado tore through the area.
Yeah, Sarah, tell us specifically where you are in Jackson County and the kind of damage you're seeing. Obviously, a lot of flashing lights behind you right now.
Yeah, Bill, Najah, that's right. We're just off U.S. Highway 72 East, and we're now on the road that runs nearly parallel to it. That's County Road 110 in Jackson County. And I'm actually going to move out of the way because in just the last maybe 5 minutes, Limrock Aspel Volunteer Fire Department and Woodville's Volunteer Fire Department rolled up on this end of County Road 110 in Jackson County. This is where we showed you earlier. Power lines were down. The sheriff of Jackson County and the EMA director both believe this is an area where that tornado possibly ripped through in this area right here. And these guys are, I just asked, and they are here to finish clearing debris in the road. So they've got chainsaws. I've seen them out. They've got chainsaws. They've got trucks. They're ready to clear the road. Hopefully by the time sun rises, we'll be able to get a better look at the extent of the debris. But again, the last 5 minutes, volunteer fire departments rolled up to start clearing the road. Again, this is County Road 110. Reporting live in Jackson County, Sarah Singletary, Way 31 News.
And during severe weather, Way 31 is a good resource to use. There you will find our meteorologists' complete updated forecasts along with a full list of storm shelters, closures, and pictures of damage.
This morning, we are continuing to follow breaking news in Madison as police are on the scene of an active homicide investigation.
Madison police say a shooting happened in the 200 block of Skyline Road. That's near Slaughter Road. It happened overnight. Way 31's Rodnea Ross has been there all morning. Rodnea.
Skyline Road here will remain closed until investigators can wrap up their work.
Good morning, Greg and Alyssa. This is still an active scene here on Skyline Road. You can still see police here and crime scene tape all around the area. Now, in the last 10 minutes, I talked to a captain with the Madison City Police who told me that they are still conducting interviews to try to piece everything in this investigation together. Now, the Madison Police tell us that the call came in sometime around 2, and when they arrived, they found one person suffering from a gunshot wound. That person was taken to Huntsville Hospital. Police told us there's also a second victim who died here at the scene, but they're not telling us exactly what happened to that person, whether or not that person also suffered from a gunshot wound. They're not releasing that quite yet. We do know that they will be here for a while as they continue to investigate what happened. Go ahead and take a listen to what Captain John Stringer had to tell us.
We have persons of interest, but at this time, no viable suspects, so we don't have information to release on suspects.
Now, we did ask Captain Stringer if there's any threat to the community. He says that this does look to be an isolated incident, and there's no reason why anyone else should be concerned. We also asked if this will have any impact on schools this morning. He said that it could possibly have an impact on any buses that take this road just because they still have the crime scene tape up. So if you have a child that goes to school in this area and takes a bus that goes on this road, you're going to want to be mindful of that.
An Alabama choir will come back home tomorrow. That's after being involved in a deadly wreck in California. One person is dead after the collision between the charter bus and the choir was on and an SUV. Way 31's Casey Albritton is live this morning with a look at what happened. Casey.
Greg and Alyssa, what was supposed to be a fun weekend quickly turned into something the choir members will never forget. The fiery crash happened Saturday morning, one day before the Oakwood University choir was supposed to perform in San Francisco. It all happened as the choir was leaving the airport on a charter bus Saturday morning. That's when an SUV crashed into the bus. Take a look at this video. You can see the bus is engulfed in flames. The driver of the SUV died, but all 18 members of the choir survived without any major injuries. Despite what they experienced, the show must go on, and the choir performed Sunday night.
We can't take this thing called life for granted. And this has really taught me that life can be gone in an instant.
Officials have identified the victim as 51-year-old Kenneth Bishop. He leaves behind a 15-year-old daughter. Live in Huntsville, Casey Albritton, Way 31 News.
If you'd like to help the choir members recover what they lost in the fire, we have information. It's on our website, waytv.com. Just click on this story.
Okay, thanks. Some breaking news this morning. Terrifying moments overnight for a house in Madison. A car drove right through the side of the house. Right now, the driver is sitting behind bars. This happened along Gillespie Road at the corner of Fernbridge Boulevard. That's where Way 31's Will Robinson Smith has camped out since that wreck occurred. He's walking us through this wild ride that led to all the damage. Good morning, Will.
Well, good morning. Now, this night was not unlike a scene from Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. You can see behind me there's a section of the fence missing, but I want to actually point to you something else that's missing here, this chunk of this brick column, and you'll note that the bottom is still intact. It's the top that's missing, and that's because when this car hit this fence, it actually went airborne as it ascended over and through this fence and into the house ultimately. Now, this all happened shortly before midnight here. Investigators said the driver was heading westbound on Gillespie Road when he hit this curb that I'm standing on now. The car then launched into the air, smashed through the brick column I just showed you. The wrought iron fence went down as well as a small tree. Next, his car made its way down the slope and then came crashing to a halt by punching a large hole, which you'll see in just a second, in the home that's right behind me. Now, police say that fortunately neither the driver nor anyone inside the home were actually injured. Now, charges are still being determined in this case, but police do tell me that alcohol may have been a factor. Speed certainly was a factor, they say, and you can see the damage left behind. I mean, for a car to go airborne and do this much damage, smashing through a wrought iron fence and a brick column, you had to be going at a pretty fast clip. Reporting live in Madison, I'm Will Robinson-Smith, WAAY 31 News.
Want to get to that breaking news, that wreck that Kate just referenced. It's a cement truck on its side, and it is blocking traffic just in time for your morning commute. Police on the scene. WAAY 31's Will Robinson-Smith joining us. Will, give us an idea of where you are this morning, and what do we know about this wreck so far?
Well, we're at the intersection of Highway 20 and Governor's West. This is just to the north of Interstate 565 where we are right now. You can see the cement truck on its side. Let me step behind the camera and give you a better vantage point of what's going on right here. The good news is that this accident is not at this moment in time causing a backup in traffic. It is blocking the combination of the truck on its side and the USA company, that is the cement company that owns the truck, as well as Huntsville Police. They're blocking the turn lanes, as you can see right here, onto Highway 20 going westbound. But fortunately, there's no traffic that hasn't been connected to this accident that's been backing up here. So that's the good news right now. But if you were planning on taking this route and going on your way this morning, I would highly suggest finding an alternate route. As far as the wreck itself, we were told that nothing toxic leak from the truck, that there was a little bit of water that did come out of the truck, but I've got crews out here working to assess the damage and then, of course, get this truck out of the way right now. But the other good bit of news is that there were no injuries as a result of this early morning wreck. Just a bit of bad luck on this Friday the 13th. Reporting live in Huntsville, Will Robinson-Smith, WAAY 31 News.
Happening today, protests all across the country, not only against Alabama's new abortion law, but other laws across various states. We checked, and there is one happening here in the Tennessee Valley. It's happening at the post office on Seminary Street in Florence at noon. WAAY 31's Rodneyah Ross joins us live this morning with a look at exactly what you need to know. Rodneyah.
Good morning, Greg and Alyssa. More than 350 rallies will take place across the country today. They're all part of the Stop the Bans initiative with outrage over the new abortion laws that have been signed. Today, thousands of people are expected to participate in rallies nationwide, with the major event happening in the nation's capital. Representatives for the National Day of Action say more than 50 organizations are coming together to stand up for reproductive freedom. This comes after several states signed new abortion bans into law. Last week, Governor Kay Ivey signed the strictest abortion law bill into law. Georgia, Missouri, and Ohio also signed abortion ban laws, and Louisiana may be joining the growing list. Many of the bans threaten to put doctors who perform abortions in prison and to prosecute women who have an abortion. Now, the rally in Florence is the only one that is in our area. It will kick off at noon at the post office on North Seminary Street. We will have a reporter at that rally to bring you a full report on the WAAY 31 News. Live in Huntsville, Rodneyah Ross, WAAY 31 News.
Thanks, Rodneyah. We're taking a look at the most recent developments on Alabama's abortion law, which, by the way, will not punish women. Vice President Mike Pence said he hopes we see the, quote, sanctity of life restored to the center of American law. Also, another Republican is coming out against the legislation. Senator Mitt Romney said he does not support the law, despite the fact he's pro-life.
The mayor of Huntsville says right now it's still too early to tell if the new Alabama abortion law will have any impact on our local economy. Way 31 learned some companies in states like Maryland and Colorado have told their workers to stop coming to Alabama. Mayor Tommy Battle said the city has not gotten any calls or boycotts being threatened by businesses who say they would be leaving the area.
The future is something we'll have to watch and watch very closely.
Mazda Toyota officials also say the new law has no impact on their plans to build in the Tennessee Valley. Way 31 also reached out to Facebook and Google to see if they had any comment. So far, we have not heard back. Governor Kay Ivey says her office has not seen any big pushback from big industries over the new abortion law. Keyboard crusaders are calling for a boycott on social media. However, the governor says she's not worried about the new law hurting the state.
Well, the bill passed House and Senate overwhelmingly, and the amendment to include exceptions was defeated. So the legislature has spoken, and it underscores the sanctity of life that the people of Alabama value so highly.
Other state leaders say they're certain the new law will not hurt the economy. And for all of our coverage on Alabama's new abortion law, head online to waytv.com. You can find the latest news and information about the debate on our homepage, or you can search abortion law in the search bar. New details this morning. We are now hearing from Governor Kay Ivey for the first time since she signed the strictest abortion bill in the country into law.
Cannot deter your efforts to protect the unborn because of cost.
Governor Ivey made those comments last night. She also said this legislation is a testament to Alabamians' belief that every life is a sacred gift from God. This morning, the controversy surrounding the Alabama Human Life Protection Act is only getting bigger. Way 31's Casey Albritton joins us live this morning with a look at what the future looks like for the new law. Casey.
Greg, Alyssa, the abortion law won't go into effect for the next 6 months, and that's if a judge doesn't intervene. And the American Civil Liberties Union is ready to fight it no matter the cost. The executive director for the American Civil Liberties Union of Alabama, Randall Marshall, says in about 3 to 4 weeks, they will ask a federal district court to issue an order saying Alabama's abortion law violates the Constitution and cannot be enforced. Marshall says the upcoming legal battle is a waste of money and that Alabama has other issues to face.
When you look across the board at the serious problems facing Alabama, that the legislature would vote to spend taxpayer dollars on this kind of a battle is just mind-boggling.
Sponsor of the abortion bill, Terry Collins, says she wants this law to overturn Roe v. Wade. Marshall told Way 31 that if the federal district court enjoins the law, a final ruling on the law won't be for at least 3 more years. Now, the Alabama Human Life Protection Act makes abortion or attempted abortion felony offenses. It does not criminalize a woman receiving an abortion, but instead goes after the doctors. Incest and rape are not exempt from the law. Anyone who performs an abortion can face up to 99 years in prison. The only exemption is if the abortion is necessary for the mother's health. Governor Kay Ivey did say that this may not be enforceable right now, but citizens should listen to the Supreme Court and abide by its authority. Reporting live in Huntsville, Casey Albritton, Way 31 News.
All right, thank you, Casey. If abortion supporters file a lawsuit against Alabama, it won't be the first time the state has tried a legal challenge to abortion. The state of Alabama paid a $1.7 million check in a settlement with the American Civil Liberties Union and Planned Parenthood. That was in 2016. The payment was made to reimburse court costs. That's after a law requiring abortion providers to have hospital admitting privileges was found unconstitutional. The executive director of the ACLU of Alabama tells us that case could result in another payout. It's talking about the ban on the method of abortion in the second trimester that was also shot down. If the Supreme Court denies the review, the ACLU would immediately be entitled to attorney's fees. That could be more than $2 million.
I'm Will Robinson-Smith here at the Breaking News Center. In a 24-10 vote, the Missouri Senate has passed its own abortion ban. You're taking a look at video of Governor Mike Parson speaking late last night in favor of the bill that passed. Now, like the Alabama law, the Missouri bill does not include exemptions for pregnancy, for rape, or incest. It also requires both parents to be notified if a minor wants to get an abortion. Current law requires only one parent to be notified.
It's now 5:06, and the hashtag Boycott Alabama is now trending on social media after Governor Ivey signed the Alabama Human Life Protection Act. Right now, it's unclear how exactly the new law could impact business across the state. However, if you take a look at the numbers in 2017 for travel and tourism statewide, Alabama brought in $14.3 billion in 2017. Madison County brought in $1.3 billion. Way 31 talked with some local business owners to find out how much a boycott on the state of Alabama could impact them.
It has slowly been increasing. It's not where it needs to be yet, but we have finally kind of gotten off the ground with tourism. And I feel like that's absolutely going to have a monetary impact on our business.
They're going to take that into account. So it's important that we in Huntsville at least do everything we can to show the world that we're still a great destination.
The Huntsville-Madison County Convention and Visitors Bureau told Way 31 people in the area saved roughly $860 in taxes because of people traveling to the Rocket City and spending money on hotels, food, and tourism.
This morning, Alabama House Democrats have their eyes set on the next legislative battleground, Medicaid. They claim while Republicans have pushed for pro-life legislation on abortion, the same doesn't hold true for supporting life through Medicaid expansion, saying they abandon Alabamians at birth. House Minority Leader Anthony Daniels from Huntsville is a key leader in the push. Daniels says Medicaid remains one of the state's top priorities. He said it's time for Alabama to put politics aside and work for the people. For all our coverage on the Alabama abortion law, go to waytv.com. You can find the latest news and information about the debate on our homepage or search abortion in our search bar.
A breaking news update this morning. We have learned some brand new information overnight in that deadly shooting that left 2 people dead this morning. We actually first brought you this story on our 10 p.m. newscast last night. Huntsville police responded to the deadly shooting at the IHOP on Drake Avenue. That's just next to Memorial Parkway, across from Parkway Place Mall. Officers say they got the call just before 10 o'clock last night. That's where we find Way 31's Stephen Delcizian. He joins us live this morning with what we know on the situation. Stephen.
Yeah, guys, this is just one of the IHOP entrances, but they're all completely covered with a closed sign that sits on the outside. And this is after Huntsville police say a customer went and got a gun from his car, went back inside the restaurant and shot 2 employees. Now, Huntsville police say 2 people are dead, 1 IHOP employee and the shooter. The other employee shot suffered non-life-threatening injuries and has been taken to Huntsville Hospital. Police believe this all started because of a dispute over the restaurant service. They say the customer left the restaurant angry, went to his car to retrieve his handgun, and entered the IHOP again, where he just started shooting. Huntsville police say they recovered the handgun used, but it is still unclear at this time how the shooter died. One witness says a relative of his went to the IHOP earlier in the day and was concerned.
I'm just worried about my relative cousins, first cousins, on both sides of the family. So, I'm just trying to make sure there ain't nobody in my family.
Now, we don't know the names of any of the victims at this time, but Huntsville police say they're expecting to give an update later this morning. We're going to continue to follow that and this story to try and get you the latest information. Reporting live in Huntsville, Stephen Delcizian, Way 31 News.
And right now at waytv.com on our homepage, you'll find more information on this shooting. Right there, we'll keep you updated on brand new details we learn as this case and the story continues to develop throughout the morning. New information this morning, Limestone County Sheriff's deputies are looking for a man who they say fed meth to his pet squirrel. It's a story that's getting national attention and blowing up all across social media. Right now, you're taking a look at the video of the squirrel, who deputies say is a addicted to meth. Deputies say the squirrel was also used as an attack animal. They tell us this man, Mickey Polk, fed meth to that pet squirrel. He's now wanted on several drug charges this morning. WAAY 31's Rodnia Ross joins us live with exactly how all of this even got started. Rodnia.
Greg, Alyssa, Mickey Polk may be a wanted man, but that didn't stop him from going live on Facebook yesterday to talk about the incident, including how he brought the squirrel back home. And now you have to go ahead and take a listen to exactly what he said in that video.
You can't give squirrels meth. It would kill them. I'm pretty sure. I've never tried it, but...
That was Mickey Polk on Facebook Live Tuesday evening. Despite his claims that he's never tried it, Limestone County Sheriff's deputies say he trained the squirrel to be an attack squirrel and fed it meth to make it aggressive. Limestone County deputies found the squirrel at an apartment complex on Piney Chapel Road on Monday. The deputies said there was no way to test the squirrel safely for meth and they released it into the wild. But Polk says he has the squirrel back home with him.
He let this trained attack squirrel go in the public. Well, he's just a baby. He's only 10 and a half months old.
Now, Limestone County deputies arrested another man, Ronnie Reynolds, in connection to this case. They tell us that they are aware of Polk's Facebook video, and they're saying that if you know where he's at, you should give them a call. Reporting live in Huntsville, Rodnia Ross, WAAY 31 News.
All right, thanks so much, Rodnia. WAAY 31 also learned Polk has a long rap sheet with law enforcement. Right now, he's wanted for possession of a controlled substance, possession of a firearm, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He's out on probation right now, but the sheriff's office tells us that will likely be revoked by a judge once he's arrested on the new charges. Now, 6:07 in this morning, we are now hearing from Huntsville's own Spelling Bee co-champion Erin Howard. Right now, you're taking a look at video as Howard landed back in Huntsville last night. She was greeted at the airport with tons of support from right here in Huntsville. WAAY 31's Casey Albritton joins us live with Erin's message following her historic win. Casey.
Greg, Alyssa, I'm here in Huntsville where Erin Howard is now back home, and she says that once she heard the final word of the Spelling Bee, she knew she was a co-champion.
E-L-A-S, Erin Simple.
Howard's plane arrived to Huntsville last night, and dozens of people showed up to welcome her home. Members of her family and the Grissom High School band were there. She says she had no idea these people were waiting for her at the airport. Howard won the Spelling Bee with 7 other competitors and are the first ever Octo co-champs in history. Since last Friday, Howard and her co-champions traveled to New York and have been on several shows like Live with Kelly and Ryan.
I'm very excited to share it with 7 other fabulous spellers because, frankly, I didn't think I could compete with some of them because they're all really good. So it's just an incredible honor for me to be standing up there with them and doing all these shows with them.
WAAY 31 also spoke to Erin's mother, and she says the win is well-deserved. Live in Huntsville, Casey Albritton, WAAY 31 News.
Happening now, a live look this morning inside the Rotunda at Capitol Hill, where people are saying farewell before former President George H.W. Bush's body is moved this morning to the Washington National Cathedral for his funeral. As the nation prepares for the president's funeral on what has been declared a day of national mourning, we have learned President Trump met with the Bush family privately. The president wanted to pay his respects to the family. Tuesday, former President George W. Bush and his brother Jeb visited their father's casket in the Rotunda, surrounded by the public, and took time to thank them.
It's important that we show honor towards the people that have stepped up in our country in leadership. It's not an easy job.
Colin Powell and military officials from the First Gulf War also paid their respects in one of the most moving moments. 95-year-old former Senator Bob Dole, you see him there, was helped out of his wheelchair to give one final salute.
Workers have made final preparations for the train that will carry President Bush to his final resting place. The locomotive Union Pacific 4141 is named after the president and will carry his body to Texas after today's funeral. He will be laid to rest at his presidential library on Thursday in Texas. The train will slow down in some areas so people can pay their respects to the president. And people in Maine, where the Bushes have a home, gathered to remember the former president. The family spent summers along the scenic coast of Ocean Avenue. A wreath with red, white, and blue ribbon was placed as locals remembered his mark on their community and our nation. Happening today in light of President Bush's passing, people who applied for an extension to file taxes or pay back to taxes now have an extra day. They were originally due today. However, President Trump signed an executive order closing all federal agencies out of respect for President Bush. And starting at 8:45 this morning, ABC will cover the departure of the president's casket from the Capitol to the Washington National Cathedral. The funeral service will take place there. Again, you can watch that live coverage of the funeral right here on Way 31 starting at 8:45. And tomorrow, ABC will cover President Bush's funeral service at St. Martin's Episcopal Church in Houston, Texas, starting at 10. Then at 12:30, ABC News will cover the beginning of the president's casket being taken by train to College Station, Texas. Coverage will continue at 3:45 for his arrival at College Station, and you can watch that live coverage of his service right here on Way TV.
Today, the man charged with shooting and killing 11 people inside a synagogue in Pittsburgh heads to court. Robert Bowers faces 29 federal charges for Saturday's massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue. U.S. Attorney Scott Brady is seeking approval for the death penalty for Bowers. And Saturday's shooting is just the latest in a place of worship in the past few years. It was a year ago next month when Devin Kelley opened fire at the First Baptist Church of Sutherland Springs, Texas, and killed 26 people. In Nashville, Emmanuel Sampson is accused of killing a woman and hurting 6 others at the Burnett Chapel Church of Christ. 3 years ago in Charleston, South Carolina, Dylan Roof killed 9 worshipers, including a pastor, at a historic Black Baptist church. He was a known racist, and then there was an attack at a mosque in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, several years ago.
Way 31 spoke with a visiting rabbi at the Huntsville Conservative Synagogue who used to be a rabbi at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh. Rabbi Stephen Lisfield said he knew 6 of the people killed, and he had a story to tell about each. Lisfield told us when he saw the face of the gunman, Robert Bowers, he didn't see him as simply a shooter.
It's a murderer. The murderer. People need to know that this horrible person is a murderer. Our leaders need to know that we will not tolerate murderers.
Rabbi Lisfield says that he wants to see leaders explore what they can do to help stop massacres like the one in Pittsburgh.
And a group of Jewish leaders in Pittsburgh told President Trump that he is not welcome to visit unless he denounces white nationalism. The 11 leaders posted their response online Sunday. Quote, "For the past 3 years, your words and your policies have emboldened a growing white nationalist movement." President Trump previously said that he plans to visit Pittsburgh this week. Politicians right here in Alabama offer their condolences for the victims of the synagogue shooting and what the crime represents. Alabama Senior Senator Richard Shelby tweeted in part, quote, "We as a nation must strongly condemn acts of terrorism and hate in our communities and in places of worship." And Senator Doug Jones tweeted in part, quote, "It is heartbreaking and wrong on so many levels. No words can heal those families' pain. No thoughts or prayers can fix what is broken." Representatives Mike Ball and Terry Collins each told Way 31 their thoughts and prayers go out to the victims and their families.
Way 31 talked with a local man who works to improve church and synagogue security. Barry Pendergraft works with teams of congregation members. He identifies weak points in security and better prepares the worshipers for a worst-case scenario. He told us now more than ever, worshipers of all faiths need to be prepared.
Sometimes, unfortunately, like happened today, the world's just full of mean people now, and it's vital that these churches put a team together to protect their congregation.
The Training Academy has been working with places of worship for the last 2 years. And for more on this story as it develops, go to waytv.com. We'll have the latest updates right on our homepage, along with the biggest stories across the Tennessee Valley.